So you have to log off, Kathy, in an hour and a half. I'll try to keep it to an hour and a half. I won't go any longer than that today. Hey, everyone. Everyone doing well? Of course, you never know. I went 2 hours yesterday, so who knows? Let's see. We got David. That bluegrass thing didn't fat. I don't know. I just made that. I mean, it's just a standard bluegrass progression. There's probably 10,000 or 20,000 songs with that exact same progression in that exact order. I'm actually thinking about next one I do. I'm going to make it instead of 100 beats per minute. I'm going to do something like 101.372 beats per minute or some crazy thing like that. Just so that I don't get copyright issues. That I had to wait a month to post that one because I had to prove that it wasn't. Oh, got to turn on the light. I had to contest that it wasn't, that I didn't steal it. It's like, well, the people you said were contesting my song, they stole their song. So why aren't they being contested too? So let's see, Maximus, I saw your question there. I doubt if I'm going to be doing some melody inside of chords and stuff like that today. We're mainly working on finger picking patterns, which is more the right hand. What you're asking is more left hand kind of stuff. I may do some, you asked me about that before. I may do some lessons on that in the future, maybe here or maybe for my channel. But I did post that new jam track. That's what I think David is referring to. And that jam track is in the key of D. You can do D major pentatonic. You can do D major scale. All sorts of different things over that. So some people just like listening to it. That cracks me up. I'm like, really? Let's see. So good morning, Keith, Bonnie, Jim. And again, if you're watching this later today and you don't see the live chat, it'll probably show up within 24 hours. That's been my realization, is they may have to approve it separately or run it through a separate thing. And then I had a video that was it's interesting. I had a video a couple days ago that was set to not appropriate for all advertisers, and I was kind of like, I didn't even contest that one. I just kind of like, you know what, I'm not going to worry about it. And then they approved it, for all advertisers anyway. But I watched it, and there was like a video, or there was an ad for like shoes and another ad for some software or something. Normally what shows up on my channel are guitar lesson ads, like YouTubers advertising on my YouTube channel to get people to go over to their YouTube channel. And I'm fine with that, 100% fine with that. I could do that myself if I wanted to. But it was interesting because I felt like, well, the tennis shoe ads are going to pay more than the guitar teacher ads. So I'm like, maybe we should cuss a little more here and make it inappropriate for some of the advertisers. It's funny too, because I think I set, because you can, as a YouTuber, you can set your ad thing, and the only thing I X'd out was casinos or gambling. The only thing that I said, I'd prefer not to have casino ads or gambling ads. And lo and behold, exactly. Verdi, I think we can, yeah, thank you, Kathy, we can approve that. So it was funny because I did see an ad for one of my videos for like a casino or something like that. So I was like, well, maybe I have to set it for every video, which would be a pain. I thought that was one of those things. Hey, Hank, you look new. Anybody else new here? Hook is here. Verdi is here, of course. Roger, Ed. Oh, and Roger, they moved up the start date for my son Jack to July from September, so he doesn't have to go uninsured after leaving JPL. Dan, good to see you. Rick, Mugu. Bob, good to see you. Let's see who else is here. Hey, DK. Wow, we got all the regulars. This is like a house party. We're just having a house party. I'm not going to say who my guitar tech is because I went to his shop and he met me there and gave me a couple of my guitars. One guitar that was being worked on, and I need to take him a bunch more. But Oh, hey, Reed. And then I had him take the frets out of this extra. I had an extra ukulele that I wouldn't, and so I had him take the frets out and put markers in. It looks like it has frets, but those are just markers. It makes it easier for me to see. Let me make sure got my level up. I wanted something that I could kind of do, that I would tune. I mean, this is tuned like a ukulele, except I have instead of the, it would normally be up here, but I went ahead and put a fat string on the bottom. It's a red string, which is weird, but it's a fat string made so that you can have a ukulele that doesn't have the high pitched string on the top. So yeah, so I've got a fretless ukulele. So check this out. See if you can hear this. I like this mic stand. Okay. I mean, it's pitchy. You got to. I've been doing a lot of oud playing, so I wanted to have something that I could get a different sound that was fretless. I'm also going to have a classical guitar done this way. I'm going to get a classical guitar that plugs in so that I can get some really cool chords and do some weird stuff like that. So anyway, I don't know. Deacon, you're sick of your house. Everybody's getting sick of their house. Yeah. I should probably, I don't know. It would be very mean for me to go outside in my backyard and do a live stream from there. I might do it though, just so you can see, but we're going to have 90s this week. So kind of looking forward to it. 90s and sunny. It's been a while. It's been a very, very cold spring, unusually cold. And now finally we're going to start warming up. Now cold for California. I know that's yeah, you use a low G on yours too. Yeah, I don't like to have it's fine for ukulele. If I'm going to do a legitimate ukulele sound, I have a ukulele. I have a Martin that I have that does the high thing. So today we're going to continue with some finger picking patterns. I picked out a couple more that we're going to do that are kind of play off of the one we did yesterday or day before yesterday. The last one we did was, and that was the one that used all three fingers. So we're going to do the inverse of that. And it'll be interesting to see if there is one that is easier for you than the other one. Remember, I was saying, some of these patterns, like the first one we learned, is easier that way for me than this way. I can play this one a lot faster than I can the other one for some reason. And it's probably because I didn't practice the one that's harder as much as I practiced the one that was easier. Yeah, Bruce, that's totally fine. So that's, and then the other thing, like I was showing you yesterday, is you can take, if you want to, you can play your fingers just on the top string. And actually this one here, you could play instead of on the, I'll turn on the light, got the new battery in. So I'm charging up the other battery. All right. Should help. And so, like you could take this pattern if you wanted to and turn it into a tremolo pattern, which means put all three of those fingers on the E string, the top string. So the technique you learn here will help you with classical, with fingerstyle, with rock, but it also can get you into the flamenco and classical tremolo. I think you guys come here more for the community than for the guitar lesson. I swear. That's why Kathy has to tell me when somebody's asked a question because there's so much. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, it's weird. I approved it too, so don't worry about it, Kathy. It does lag though. Like if I count to 3 and tell you all to hit high, at the same time, it'll show up here about 20 seconds later. So, okay. Let's see what else is going on. Do you have any other questions? No questions right here yet. 70s, yay, that's awesome, Rick. Yeah, we have 70s today too. We're not tomorrow's high 80s, and then low 90s the rest of the week. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. Richard, how's it going? Ed, good to see you. Still getting people in here. No, but sometimes I have, and keep in mind it's a Tuesday, so it's a work day. So people are working from home. They're probably eating up a lot of bandwidth. I'm going to move this mic back. So like I said, this one is ascending, and then the descending version would be. Yeah, actually descending is easier. It's weird. It feels easier to go ring middle index instead of index middle ring, which doesn't make sense to me, but everybody's hand is different. So let me write this one out. So, and then while I'm writing, I'll try to not lose my concentration, and I'll try to also keep an eye on. Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. I'm going to turn this off for now. Does the light help, by the way? That this house is really cool. So when we had 100-degree weather, we just bought this house, and when we had 100-degree weather, it was still 75 in the house the whole day. It's just amazing. I'm not sure how it does it, but everything's double paned, very well insulated. The walls are very well insulated. The attic's very new insulation, new roof, and they have fans that kick on. We have fans that kick on both sides of the house. That if the temperature gets over a certain amount, they kick on and they start to keep the air circulating in the attic. So, okay, the light helps. That's good. So I'll keep using the light when I'm actually playing. And we can save the battery a little bit. So we went thumb, index, middle, ring before. This time we're going to go thumb, and then the ring finger is playing the top string, which is E. The middle finger is playing the second string, which is C. And the index finger is playing the third finger, which is G. Third string, which is G. Okay, and again, I'm playing 16th notes, but that doesn't really matter if you play it really, really slow. 16th notes could be super easy. But that's what the first grouping looks like. That's one, E, and and then the only thing that's going to change is the bass note's going to go up to E. The rest of it's going to be the same, and then I'm going to just write that out twice. So on these, because we're using 3 fingers, we only have 2 strings to move our bass back and forth on. I'll hold it up again when I'm done, or at least done with the C chord. Everybody staying healthy? If you don't go out, you're not going to get even a common cold, for crying out loud. All right. Yeah, I think DK's in India, which is very impressive to me that because I know it's very late. It's tomorrow there. DK really likes the community. He even goes to the Discord. Oh, I should probably post a link to the Discord. There's some new people here. I posted yesterday also a couple more of the lessons that I scanned. Here's Discord. So I can do an invite to Discord. So I'm going to do that. and then you guys can go to that. And you're some people are there right now. Let's see. Here we go. I think this is right. Am I, Verdi, you're on. Oh, did I just? No, okay. There we go. I think this is the right link. Okay, and then finish. Okay. So here, if you count the notes up total, there's 16 notes because those are 16th notes. So we need 16 sixteenths to fill up a bar of 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4 beats. And that's why I group these 16th notes. The flags are all grouped in groups of 4. So you can kind of see, especially when you're reading, and you could technically flag all the, connect all of these together. So you would have just 2 parallel lines going across all of these stems. These are called stems. The vertical lines are stems. But it would just be very tough to see where the beats were. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's standard notation practice to go ahead and break these up, and you can see it even in the Giuliani studies. Have I been calling it the Carcassi method? Giuliani studies. The Carcassi method is kind of a great method for kind of the Alfred's basic guitar method of classical music. It's kind of what so many people start with. But like I said, it's public domain, so there's so many versions of it. So, okay. Oh, Hook had a question earlier. Okay, thank you, Kathy. Let me go up and find Hook's question. Oh, Tom, what brand is your mic stand? I bought a K&M at. I added the link to my list of links. It's a K&M made in Germany, super solid. I think it was about $70 to $75 delivered. I think it was $65, something like that. And it's a tripod with a here, I can get it in the picture here. It's a tripod with a boom. Super solid, well made, real smooth too. It when you loosen things to adjust, it stays. It feels real smooth and everything. So I had a couple stands. Actually, it's funny because way back when the internet was new, I had a hometown at AOL.com page, or not page, but a site that I had all these tips for worship leaders, because I was doing a lot of worship leading back then, a lot. And and so I had all these tips there. And one of the things I had were I would put together, I would update it every week, but I would hunt and search for contests. And, Sweetwater had a contest, and Musician's Friend and Guitar Center, and they all had contests, and you could register to win. And I was always registering every week to win contests. And I never really won anything, except I did win a $250 gift certificate to Carvin. And I don't know if you remember Carvin. I don't even know if they're still around, but I went to the store with my $250 gift certificate. All the guitars were like $2,000, and I didn't want to spend $1,750 on a Carvin guitar that I wasn't interested in. So what they did have was guitar stands and mic stands. So I just bought a bunch of guitar stands and mic stands, and I've had them to this day. And that was probably going back to the late 90s. But they were just getting really rickety. They were just starting to get not as good. Now, I was going to get one that was really pro, like a $500, $400 one. You can spend a lot of money on a mic stand, but it actually was pretty big, and I wasn't sure that I would actually use it. Okay, so so I showed you the C. Now I'm going to do the G7 over B. Okay, and again, the fingering on this is P A M I. I had to think about it. Okay, the P standing for thumb, the A standing for the ring finger, M standing for middle, and I standing for index. And then, of course, on the next note, you're going to also play B. And the C chord is just this one that you know and love. All right. So there's a lot of repartee here. Repartee. All right. So you guys are all talking amongst yourselves. Oh, hey, Doug, how's it going? You're welcome. Oh, what amps do I like for acoustic? I've never used an amp for acoustic. Never. I've always, anytime I've ever played acoustic live, I've always plugged into the PA system and just had it either come back to me in the monitors or in my ears. I don't really like plugging in my acoustic. Years and years ago, when I first started playing acoustic guitar, a friend of mine, Fernando Ortega, is a very, very good singer and worship leader and piano player, really amazing. He had me come out and play with him, and I had just gotten my. He was doing a new Saturday night service at this church, and he had me come out and play with him on Saturdays. And my pickup wasn't working. I had a pickup in the guitar, but it was not dependable. So I just went ahead and brought I had a AKG 414 mic, which my son now has, but AKG 414 is a great mic. And also because I was playing mandolin, it just made sense to have a mic. I didn't have a pickup in my mandolin, still don't. And so I would just, put the guitar down, pick up the mandolin, boom, done. I didn't have to unplug anything. I didn't have to, have 2 amps or 2 cables or 2 setups or anything like that. So it was really super convenient. I can't tell you how many times people came up to me, guitar players came up to me and say, "Man, what pickup do you have in that guitar? It sounds amazing." And I said, "Yeah, it's not a pickup. You're just hearing the guitar through a good microphone." I just am not a fan of plugging my acoustic into anything. Even when I play live at church with acoustic, when we do the unplugged thing, now to this day, I've either brought this Gefell mic, or actually I like the AKG 451 better because it's a small shotgun microphone and it doesn't pick up as much of the congregation as this mic does. So, but I've never used an amp live. I've either just gone, if I've had to. When I was leading worship, I had to go plug in, but then I just used the PA system, and then I made sure that I was plenty loud in the wedges. So, and I had a little preamp, I think just a little Fishman preamp where I could do a little EQing. The most important thing on the Fishman preamp was that knob, the phasing knob, I think it is. This is fascinating. So one of the things that cause feedback with acoustic guitars is if the top of the guitar, I'll tell you what, I'm going to switch guitars so you guys can all take a drink. That's one of the rules in our drinking game. If I switch guitars, you can all take a sip. Oh man, I'm almost out of coffee. This is not going to make it to the end. So what's interesting is the top of your guitar, or maybe it's the back, but the back, it's like it vibrates like a speaker does. A speaker vibrates and it generates sound, and that's kind of what's happening here. In fact, if you did this on a solid body classical, you would hardly hear it at all. So clearly, the top and the back are generating volume. In fact, if I put my hands on the guitar like this, I can really dampen the volume, especially if I do it, down there. And you can do that at home and just push on it a little bit, and you can see how much quieter it gets. So what's interesting is when you get that woofy feedback from an acoustic guitar plugged in, like say you got your guitar plugged in, it's coming up to the monitor. The reason is because your top of your guitar, your speaker, is vibrating sympathetically with the speaker cone. And so they get out of control. So what you do when you reverse the phase, you force the sound to go the opposite of the speaker that you're going through. And it really means you can turn up a little bit more. You can get rid of that woofy feedback to a point. If you turn up higher, it's just going to come right back. But yeah, I've heard about tone woods. I've never played through one, maybe at the NAMM show. But one of the things I don't like to do is I do not like to put effects, reverb, anything on my acoustic, mainly because anything you do to a piezo pickup, any effects you add to that is going to make it sound more like an electric guitar. And I feel like the guitar is going to struggle. Acoustic guitar is going to struggle to sound like an acoustic guitar when you plug it in. So if you put chorus on it and delays and reverb and compression and all that stuff, it's going to sound like, well, why not just pick up an electric guitar? But some people love to have all that stuff on there because it gives them confidence. Truth be told, when I'm recording, I like to have reverb on my acoustic. But when I send the files to the producers or the composers or the engineers I'm working with, I always send them a wet file, which is that file with all the effects on it, and I send them a dry file that has nothing on it, because I know that they're going to have better plugins than I will have. So, okay, so here's the first pattern today that we're going to learn, and here's what it looks like. If you want to do a screenshot, great. If not, you can go to the Discord site, and I'll probably have it uploaded maybe later today. Okay. And if you're playing if you're playing outdoor events or things like that, I can see where having an amp for your acoustic would totally make sense, especially if there's no PA system. So I'm not, yeah, it is a very sad part of the day, Kathy. It's like the happy part. It's like, that's the tough thing about getting coffee is, you know, that at some point it's going to be gone that day. So it's like, it's a happy moment. And then, but you know, it's going to be bittersweet, literally, and figuratively. It's kind of like doing the tinnitus thing. I can help you get rid of tinnitus for about 5 minutes, but it's going to come back and you're just gonna be like, oh, dang it. Now I hear it. So we did it yesterday, right? Kathy, it's worked for you, right? So the tinnitus thing, you can watch yesterday's video. At the end of the video, I think we did it, or maybe it was the day before. I should just do a video on it and post it. Although, because I'm not a doctor or anything, I don't want anybody going, what are you saying? You know, all of a sudden they can't hear anything. I'm like, oh, dang it. Yeah, it worked for you, didn't it? Yeah, the amps magnify the mistakes. That's for sure. Yeah, right. Hospital rooms. I like I told you, I just did some hospital room. I went to the children's hospital just the other day. Not the other day, back in February. We did some shows. Me and Kelly did. Kelly has a movie out on Lifetime. She plays a murderer, and it was awesome. What was that movie called? Shoot, it was. Oh, dang it, I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. Okay, so yeah, I know today's Tuesday, right? Yeah. So maybe later today I'll live stream after this, maybe even right after this, I'll live stream from our backyard. I don't want to tick you off, but it is nice. I'll tell you, it's a lot easier. I'm so glad we're not in the apartment building anymore in Pasadena, because on top of managing and just being in that confined space with all those people, having a small apartment, we have like twice the room here we had before. So we're really very happy and blessed. But okay, so here's the pattern. I got the light on. I'm going to turn a little bit here so you can see. And basically, we don't even play anything. Just play open strings. So hit the 5th string with your thumb, and then go ring finger on the top string, 2nd finger on the 2nd string, and 1st finger on the 3rd string. So 3rd finger on the 1st string. I love it when it's all messed up like it. 3rd finger on the 1st string, 2nd finger on the 2nd string, and 1st finger on the 3rd string. Hey, Pepper. I'll just show you our backyard. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to be like, you guys all hate me afterwards. It's a pretty nice backyard for Los Angeles, I have to admit. And everything's starting to bloom too. My lemon tree is starting to bloom, which is great, because we had 1 million lemons on that thing last year, and I got every one of them down and made lemonade. I didn't waste a single lemon. I walk around town and I see lemon trees just totally unharvested, and it drives me crazy. Not on orange trees and avocado trees. Okay, so this is our pattern. So I'll go really slow. Thumb, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Thumb, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Thumb, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Thumb. Let's do this. Let's play them all at the same time. Let's put your fingers right on the strings. So 5th string, and then 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, and just go like that. Just pull all fingers off at the same time. Kind of like you're making it, like you're a bird, you're a claw. Okay. Squirrel. Okay, so then again, the pattern is thumb, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Move down a string with the thumb. Thumb, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Thumb, 3rd, second, first. Cruzy, if you're there, let's set up a time to do a lesson, a Skype lesson. I'll probably have to get up early because you're in England. All right, so then put the C chord on and it sounds like this. Now, I don't know if Maximus is there, but Maximus, if you want, you could take off, like you could do. Okay, so I'm going to go slow with the C chord. Do I need to post the Discord invite again? There's the Discord invite again. If you're just joining us, you can join. You can join up the Discord. The chat will continue before and after the lesson on Discord with many of the people here, and then also there'll be people posting videos or posting pictures, or I'll post JPEGs of the lessons. Everybody's up there doing that. So here's with the C chord, here it is slowly, thumb, and we're going to go ahead and alternate the bass note between the 5th string and the 4th string. Thumb, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. And when I say 3rd, 2nd, 1st, right now I'm talking about fingers. So but it's the 1st string, 2nd string, 3rd string. Thumb, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Change strings. Thumb, 3rd. Again. Okay, now change it. You can totally look at your strings. That's totally fine. I have to do that sometimes too. Don't feel bad about that. Especially since you're hovering your hand. Sometimes, Kathy, that's why you'll see some players put their pinky on top of the guitar, because what that does is it gives them kind of an anchor or a pivot point, or I think of it more of an anchor, and basically from there you can almost feel. Now, one thing you could do is by not looking at your hands, and somebody gave a good tip today on my new video I posted about changing chords faster. What was it, 7 tips? I wish I'd mentioned it, but practice not looking at your hands, like change chords without looking at your hands. I totally forgot that one. I mean, I literally remember back when I was teaching, I would take an album and put it right here so that the student almost held up a W-2 form, a W-9 form. When sitting over there, I'm like, I'll just show you all my social security number. Why not? I'm an idiot. But I would literally hold an album jacket right there in front of between the kid's face and the kid's hand, so they couldn't look at their hand. They'd be like, oh, and they'd be like, So yeah, so some people do that. A lot of people will collapse. When I'm playing electric, a lot of times in picking, I will collapse my hand and this part of my palm, or my there's a name for that part of your hand, will actually be resting on the bridge. And so I'll, if I had a pick in my hand. My classical training has me holding my hand like this, and that definitely makes it harder because you're kind of like coming from space and you're just randomly going to land on the strings. That's not likely. So that does take a long time. A lot of it is consistent arm placement. Where's the guitar? Right here. If you're consistent about where you put the edge of the guitar on your forearm, then your hand will probably fall in the same place every time, and it won't be such an issue, if that makes sense. The heel, thank you, Hook. It's the heel of your hand. So I rest the heel of my hand on my bridge generally when I'm playing electric. But then I see some of the best players, they don't do that at all. They float their hand just like I do when I play classical. And I'm like, how do they do that? So I totally understand, Kathy, where you're coming from on this. Okay, so I'll look at my hand too. All right. So that's the new one. We're going to do one more. I'm going to teach you another one. The other one I'm going to do is, let's see. I like this one, so I think we'll try it. It'll be a good challenge for you. If Maximus is still there, that you could totally use this one to create some inside voice melody. You know, when Max was asking about, are you going to teach about inside voicing, changing the voices inside? And so what he means by that. So when you play a chord melody, right? When you play a chord melody, generally you want the melody on top because the listener's ear will be attracted, right? And so when you play chord melody, you kind of want that on top. But when you're accompanying somebody else is singing, you can kind of move things around. So like, so I'm playing the middle four strings, kind of doing a Travis thing. And I'm playing C, let's see, X, C, 0, 1, 0, just C. Then I went to a C2, which was X, 3, 0, 0, 1, 0. It was kind of a C2. And then I went back to C, just so you know what's playing there. Of course, Maximus is probably gone, so he's not getting this lesson. Oh, well. As soon as I started this lesson, I said, "Nah, I'm probably not going to talk about that." And now here I am talking about it. I'm such a bad person. 3, 0, 1. And this would be if you're not playing the top. Oh wait, I'm technically not playing the top string, so I'm really just playing the middle four strings. So this you could call C sus. Don't need to say C sus4. That's, in my opinion, redundant. If you play the E string, yeah, Play Misty for me is like one of the first like Clint Eastwood movies, isn't it? He actually directed it and starred in it. I think it was his first director movie. It was actually really pretty good. Thriller. If you play the E string open, so if you played that chord like this, 3, 3, 0, 1, 0, that we could call a C4 chord because it has both the F and the E in it. So it has the 4 and the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C is the 1, E is the 3, F is the 4, G is the 5. So we have the 1, 3, 4, 5 in this chord. So you have the 1 and the 3 and the 5. That's a triad. So that's C. If you add the 4 and you keep the 3, then I would call that a C4 chord. All right, so I think the pattern I want to do is this one. It may be a little bit of work, but it'll be cool. It's also a 3-finger and thumb chord pattern, and it's this one. It'll be on the C chord. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to write this out, and also, again, how many of you are that's starting to look like it makes sense where it didn't before? How many of you can see, you can almost hear the pattern when you look at this? I mean, that's really, I love that about music notation, is you can really, it's very representational of what the sound is. Of course it is, because it's music. So anyway, it's pretty cool. Hook, could you read before? And again, I wouldn't necessarily say you're a music reader now, but you can read music for 2 chords. Hey, good, Ed. Yes. So, Verdi, that would be called C over G. You put the bass note second, the chord first. That's a C chord with a G in the bass. So that's what that would be. Awesome, Bonnie. Awesome, Bob. Bucko Cat. Dust off those guitars. Keep it outside. Keep it out. Keep it out. Kathy's the welcome. She's the welcome wagon. Awesome, Pepper. Good to see you. Hopefully you got all your studying done. You're almost done, Pepper. Almost done. What's today? The 20th? 21st? I have no idea. Today's the 21st. Pepper will have her finals on the 29th, I think. Okay, but anyway, I would call that a C/G. You put the bass note second, you put the name of the chord first. Okay, so this pattern is thumb on the fifth string, index finger on the G string, and then top string with the third finger, and then back to the G string. In fact, the G string is going to be every other note. Very classical sounding. You can change chords. So I got to concentrate. Okay, so this is a good one because it kind of mixes up the fingers a little bit. Okay, so it's thumb, index on the G string. Well, and you'll see on the, when I write it out, you'll see that half of the notes are going to be this note right here, this G note. And that's going to be true of both the C chord and the G chord because they both have an open G string on. Okay, you're going to see that note 8 of the 16 times in this line and this line. Okay, this is called a staff. These lines are called staff. Like here, one of these is called a staff, and more than one is called a staves or staves. I'm not sure. Okay, question from Reed: what kind of guitar stands would you recommend? I mean, I really like ultimate support stands. I like ones that don't have the cradle at the bottom for the guitar because I feel like that if I make a mistake and don't look where I'm going, it could fall off or something. I really like the ones that have the V shape, grab the neck, and then it's just I'll show it to you in a second here. But ultimate sport, I may have a link to those. I don't know. I may not have done that. Sorry, but I gotta do something with the guitar when I don't have the stand. And this one has like felt pads, which are really nice too. I really like that. They make some that have little lips on the bottom, so you can little ledges that you can put the guitar on. But I prefer not to have those. I prefer to hang the guitar rather than have the guitar set in something. Anyway, that's what I use there. So I'm going to start to write out this new pattern. Hey, Bridget. Nice. I actually going to make a call. What time is it? I should have done it this morning. It's in Indiana. There's a place in Indiana that makes dulcimers, and I have a dulcimer, but I want a chromatic dulcimer. Dulcimers are usually just diatonic. So in other words, the frets are kind of set up. There's a C chord. All right, talks amongst yourselves while I fill out this new pattern. Again, it's just going to be 16/16 notes. And if I talk and write, I'm going to mess up. I just know it. Okay, I'm done with the C chord. Now, the other thing about this one is, so far, I think all of our patterns have been one beat patterns, right? Basically, the pattern is one beat, and then you just move the bass note around, okay? I think that's true of all of our patterns. This one actually takes 2 beats to play the full pattern. And so in a measure of 4 beats, you'll be able to play the pattern 2 times before you move on to the next one. Assuming you could stay on the C chord for 2 bars and then do the G chord for 2 bars. You could stay on the C chord for 4 bars. You could stay on the C chord and not change to the G7 chord. Keeping in mind, these exercises are for your right hand. So your left hand is pretty irrelevant. The only reason we do the C and G chord is just to break up the monotony a little bit. But you could totally play it. Heck, you can even play it with all open strings. So on this one, I'm going to have to write out the fingering, like I said, for 2 beats. It's going to be P, I, A, I, P, I, M, I. So thumb, index, ring, index, thumb, index, middle index. Now look remember what I said about, hold on, I don't want to get ink all over my hand. If I just hold this in my hand, it's going to be all inky. Okay. Inky is a word. Okay, so we have the G string is the second note, the fourth note, the sixth note, the eighth note, the 10th note, 12th. See that? So so the index finger is gonna be used a lot. So it's thumb, index, ring on the top string, index, thumb, index, middle, index, and that's the pattern. Okay, I'm gonna do that pattern real slow. I'm not gonna even make a chord. You can just do it. Don't even worry about the chord. So if you want to keep typing chats to each other. Oh, I just touched my face. Okay, sorry. I have to post the rules for the drinking game. Tom commandments. We're not to 10 yet. We have 7. Here, sip. And my face itched. How did you get the coronavirus? I itched my face. So the rules are if I touch my face, if I change guitars, which not if I pick up a guitar, I changed guitar earlier. I'll do that again. I'll change guitar in a second here. If I forget what tuning I'm in, if I pick up a guitar and I don't realize I'm in a special tuning, you have to take a sip. If Tom refers to himself in the third person, he has to take a sip. If I use air quotes at any point, you have to take a sip. 7 sips. If I say I had a band in high school called something, you have to take a sip. And then, if I mentioned that I played all the guitars in Apex Legends, you have to take a sip. And I only do that for the benefit of the kids because they're like, what? That's the thing that impresses them. Anyway, I was working on a movie this morning. It's actually a documentary, an African documentary. Actually, the composer's here, but when you say the Tom commandment sips, oh, ouch. Wow, Gary, you're a dad, aren't you? You got to be that's a dad joke. That's a total dad joke. Okay, so the pattern, I'm going to play it. I'll play it fast with the C chord just so you can hear it kind of maybe in the context, ultimate, the dream goal kind of. Oh, what does a 7 do, Verdi? So if I hit, well, I have a different idea. I don't have that on my clipboard right now, but if I hit paste, I have to add a 7 to that. If I paste the, I don't know. The quarter note, let's see. Sorry, DK asked, DK I think asked if let's million sips, how fast that was. I was just playing now. I don't know. Let me pull up my metronome. I have this thing called tempo. I think I paid for this. Like $2 or $3, $4 maybe. So there's 164. Let me go down to. And these are great. The apps are great because you can actually subdivide and all that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you're trying to get some tempo, just start with a note that's going to be hitting the downbeats. Yeah, it was about 120. But I mean, this pattern sounds musical almost at any, sounds really nice. And if you want to play it if you say you wanted to play it as eighth notes, meaning half as fast, then you just change chords here. Okay. So let's go over this again. It's thumb, index, ring, index. Let's practice that. Thumb, index, ring, index. 5th string, 3rd string, 1st string, 3rd string, 5th string, 3rd string, 1st string, 3rd string. You can see that? And again, I'm using what's called through strokes. I'm not resting my finger like this. It makes it louder. Rest strokes are for volume. If you want more volume, you use rest strokes. Oh, DK, okay. Anybody new on right now? Let's see. Okay, now, yeah, I see the question. I do not use a room humidifier right now. Not in the winter. Usually, I don't really need it because we don't really run the heat, so it doesn't get too dry in here. And we had a lot of rain. But I do have a humidifier, and sometimes I run it in the room. Sometimes I run it, in my closet. I actually bought one, and I bought a new one and thought it was gonna. I thought it shut on and off automatically, and I opened the closet, and a cloud of steam came out. All my like 3 or 4 of the cases, the latches were rusted. I'm like, okay, well, I can't leave that one in there. So 5, 3, first string, and then first. And then we're going to move the thumb down to the 4th string and get 4, 3, 2, the 2nd string with the 2nd finger, and then back to the 3rd string with the 1st finger. So, I mean, if you want to think of it string-wise, I could write out 3. Kind of ends up looking like that exercise we used to do, right? 5th string, 3rd string, 1st string, 4th, 1st string. Oh, I wrote it wrong. Dang it. Sorry. No, I did. I wrote it right. Okay, hold on a second. 5th string, 3rd string, 1st string, 3rd string, 4th string, 3rd string. So you see every other note is the 3, which is the 3rd string. So there's a lot of G's in this pattern. There's the 2nd finger grabbing the 2nd string. Almost getting to Travis pattern. And actually, I don't think the Travis pattern really shows up in the Giuliani studies. But you're right, because we're going back and forth. And one of the things that is really common in the Travis pattern is you're grabbing strings at the same time. Have we done that yet? We have not done that yet. Now close your eyes and just listen to this for a second. And notice how it's wider and narrower musically, okay? And look at the music. The music is an exact representation of what I'm playing, but also if you can't read it, you can still almost see. Again, we only have 5 notes there. We have the 5 notes that you see over here in the C chord. Those are the 5 notes we're using here. So you can see we're going lowest note, and then the middle note, and then the highest note, and then the middle note, and then the next lowest note, the middle note, the second highest note, and the middle note. You can see the wide, narrower movement of the music, and you can hear it, and it matches up. So again, I don't want you to be afraid of reading music, because it actually makes a lot of sense when you start doing it, okay? Almost makes, if I were to write this out in tab, it wouldn't look like it sounds. Whereas writing it out this way, it definitely does. Yeah, I probably should. I do have humidifiers in my cases. Oh, I'm getting a bunch of emails for something. Hold on. Oh, okay. We'll check that out later. Well, I thought it was work related. Okay, so the other chord, I'm going to go ahead and write it down here so I have a little more space and I don't have to, I can write all this stuff up here. Okay, so the next chord is going to be the G7 over B. So it's an F on top, then a D, then a G, then a D, and then a B on the bottom. Ergo G7 over B. And there's that. Okay, and that chord is played this way. And again, if you're having a hard time grabbing this chord, you can simplify it by getting rid of the pinky on that D string, on the D note on the second string. So you can play it like this. Okay. Any of them are fine. I mean, I'm sorry, Pepper is asking me what humidifier packs. I have a bunch of different ones. I have a little plastic round thing that has a piece of clay in it, and you lift up the lid and you put water in it, and the clay absorbs the water, and you put in. Thing I like about that is it seems to last a really long time. That can last a while. Whereas there's the round ones that you put in the sound hole, and they've got the foam inside or the sponge in there. And you have to get it wet, and then you have to make sure it's all dry before you put inside your guitar. And that's not a bad one, but you might have to check that one every day. And if it's in a case, that's no big deal if you've got one guitar. But how many guitars do I have? I have 60 guitars, maybe 100 instruments in total. Yeah, so it's just not going to happen. And then the other kind are the ones that look like the green, like snakes, and they are rubber, and then they have inside them, they have they just have sponges. And the same thing, you just get a glass and you put it in the glass with water and let it absorb it, and then you have to kind of squeeze it all out, and you have to let it sit so it doesn't get too wet in there, and you have to put it in the guitar. I mean, I need an assistant is what I need. And if I had an assistant, that would be part of their job, would be to literally check all that. But I don't know what the ultimate humidity for an acoustic guitar is. I think every guitar is different. Here's another thing I've noticed. If you buy a guitar that was made near where you live, for example, there are 3 main acoustic guitar manufacturers, okay, that I think of. There's a million of them, and there's great guitars. These are not necessarily the 3 best, but there's Martin, Gibson, and Taylor. Those are kind of your 3 biggies. And Martins are made on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. So if you live on the East Coast, because keep in mind that wood that they have has been sitting out for 20 years or more. If you're ever in San Diego, you can take a free tour of the Taylor factory. They do one every day, I think, at 1. It's about a 2-hour tour, not a 3-hour tour, not Gilligan's Island. Okay, my nose itches, so I immediately went for the coffee. I'm going to drink water. I'm going to try to put off the end of the coffee as long as I can. Yeah, so that's probably Martin's. So the wood that a Martin's made out of has been sitting in that humidity probably for 20 or 30 years. And so I would think Taylor's probably do better in in a drier climate, because they are basically sitting in San Diego, though it can be pretty, they're on the other side of, like, they're over the hill from San Diego. So they're not like on the ocean. They're kind of closer to the desert. Taylor factory is. And so their wood has been sitting out there for 20 or 30 years now. And then Gibson, they make it in Bozeman, Montana. So I imagine their Gibson guitars are really good in warmer or colder climates. And also, I don't know how dry it is in Montana, but those are your 3. Adirondack pine on the face. Well, you mean Adirondack spruce, generally. But yeah, so you can, as far as the ultimate humidity for that, it may vary from guitar to guitar. I imagine, DK, you're in India. I imagine I've never been to India, but my assumption is it's really humid. I have my cousin lives in Bangkok, has lived in Bangkok for many, many years, 20, 30 years. He's married and has a daughter. And every time I have Bangkok weather, because he's always telling me, you got to come and visit us. Like, it's always 95 and 95% humidity every day. Thunder showers and 90 degrees. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, Godins are made in Canada. Yeah, that's a pretty wide range, but that's not super dry. Like 33 isn't too bad. And trust me, too much humidity can be bad, right? I had a friend in Colorado that he had 2 really nice acoustics in his office, and somebody in one of the other offices left their window opened, and in that office is where the thermostat was. And so for the whole weekend, like, it was 72 hours, the heat was cranking, because it was like 10 degrees or 0 degrees outside the whole weekend. And so the person that opened the window just forgot to close the window, and it left the heater was on for the whole building or for the whole office for the whole weekend. And his guitars were both ruined, completely ruined. They were way too humid. Yeah, see, India is a very big country. So there's some, in fact, I imagine in the north, it's very dry, because in the north, kind of getting up there in that Gobi Desert area. In the very south, it may be more like Southeast Asia kind of weather. So quite a big range. Acoustic Guitar Magazine says 45 to 55% humidity. Interesting. A constant level is more important. Yeah, and you know, I was just talking to Norik, my guitar tech, and I said he was just telling me, you know, guys, they worry about that a lot. I've never had a guitar be destroyed from not getting enough humidity or having too much humidity. I've never had that problem. So, um, what do you'd be miserable? What? In Kathy, you'd be miserable in Bangkok. Yeah, I mean, I would visit, but I couldn't live there. And my cousin, he's married. They own a corporation together, so they have like 1 million employees, and so they live really well. And they would totally show us the right way to see Bangkok. But I'm like, I don't know. Someday we will do it sooner than later, probably. Okay, so let me. I was in the middle of writing out the G7 one. Okay, so talk amongst yourselves. And again, the G7 one, every other note's going to be that G string open. So it's B, the fifth string, then the G string, then F on the first string, then the G string again, and then D, open D string, and then the G string again, and then D at the third fret of the second string, and then back to open G string, and I'm good. So here's what it looks like before I put the stems on. So again, you can see what it sounds like by looking at that. See, I love that about music. And I totally understand that you know, I'm just using this to teach you these patterns. You may never use it for anything else, or reading music, that is, but it is a great way to learn finger picking patterns, especially when you're using the same 2 chords for every exercise. And somebody asked me about ties, not Thai, Thailand, but music ties. So here's that pattern. There's the G7. Oh, I got to write. Sorry, I do a screenshot. I just took it away from me. I'm a bad man. P I A I P I M I. Yeah. I probably should go to India too. DK, can you set up like a little mini like teaching tour there? I go to India and teach in clinics. Because Indians are really smart. They generally speak like 2 or 3 languages, or 4 or 5, not like Americans. A friend of mine from Paris, he said, here's my Parisian friend. Of course, keep in mind, Parisians tend to be a little bit snobbish. I've never had a problem. And my Parisian friend, he's a wonderful person, but I was a safe person he could tell this joke to. What do you call someone that's 2 languages? Bilingual. He said, well, what do you call someone that speaks 3 languages? I said, well, trilingual. He asked me, well, what do you call someone that speaks 1 language? And I said, monolingual. And he goes, no, American. Yeah, I can't even speak English. That's crazy, DK. I believe you. I would imagine DK speaks English, Hindi, and then what else? What else would I'm trying to think? What else you would? You know, it's crazy. In Vietnam, a lot of Vietnamese, the older Vietnamese, speak French because it was a French colony before the 50s. Yeah. That would be pretty cool. So here's the pattern. I'm going to slow it way down. Thumb, index, ring, index, thumb, index, middle, index. Listen to the pitches. And if you already have this down, like this is no problem for you to play. Again, the challenge is try to accent one of those notes and not the others of the grouping of 4. So like the first G string. Like maybe the top note. I move my head when I accent. Wow, DK, that's amazing. So what is it, Tom, with the PIM in the pattern again? It's, oh, okay. It's, this pattern is PM. So it's PIAIPIMI. Let me write that out. PIAIPIMI. The I is always on the G string, the 3rd string. Okay. The thumb is going to go back and forth between the 5th string and the 4th string. And then the ring finger is always going to be the 1st string, and the middle finger is always going to be the 2nd string. Okay. And it comes, and then thumb, index, middle, index. I think Hindi is, the most common language. But English is, I mean, I wonder if, even if, like, you didn't speak Hindi in India, you probably spoke English. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off now. Oh, this is weird looking. So change colors. It looks like it. Okay, that's that. And then, that's kind of creepy. Okay, Kathy has a question. Question for, or Doug has a question. Doug, thank you, Kathy, for wow, that may be up ways. Good looking honky. Oh man, I think we need to delete that one, Kathy. Let's see. Doug, where's Doug? Oh, Doug, do I play? Do you play a He asked me, do I play a combination of patterns during while playing a song? Yes. Let me delete this one. Bye. May have to block, but anyway, probably not going to be back. It depends. I mean, I play if it's a piece of music that's asking me to play the same pattern over and over again. Like for example, "Dust in the Wind" is kind of the same pattern over and over again. The same pattern in "Dust in the Wind" is kind of the same pattern as "Blackbird" by the Beatles, although he does the pinching thing, and then he goes up to here and does kind of a Travis pattern. But really, what he's doing, I think. It's really funny because for years I taught it. Let's see. And then when I listen more closely, that's probably the pitches he's hitting. But he's doing more of he's kind of not, he's just trying to get like hitting strings, and he's just using the top of his index finger. And it's funny because that's kind of what John Mayer does on some songs. He does this thing where it's like. Paul McCartney twiddle, is that what he called it? So it kind of has that snare hit almost, kind of a 2/4 kind of thing. So let's see. Let me catch up on some of these questions or comments. Um, yeah, I know there's a dialect in India. Well, and I mean, how long ago? How long has India been one country? Oh, air quotes. I mean, because it was probably 100 years ago. It was probably a bunch of countries, or maybe 200 years ago. It was probably a bunch of small regions with different dialects. Well, DK, we knew you. Four is uncommon. We knew you were. Relatively uncommon. We know that. Bako Cat. My nylon string guitar is very nice. 52 years old. No name now because I took the maker label out. Dumb 19-year-old. It was either a Ramirez. That would be a nice Ramirez. A 52-year-old Ramirez. I mean, you could go to eBay and check that out. That could be a really nice guitar. Although, and it's Brazilian rosewood spruce top. See, mine's a cedar. This one is a cedar top, and this is Brazilian rosewood, which is very difficult to get now, but they still have it. I think they're farming it now. They're planting trees. They're using trees now that they planted for that job. It was, I think, for a minute it was illegal. So reading music counts as another language. Okay, I'll accept that. I can't speak Spanish. My Latino friends, they like to make fun of my Spanish attempts. It's funny. I have one friend that's very good at teaching me how to speak Spanish. He's actually, I can learn from him. And then I have another friend that I can't understand anything he says in Spanish because he says it in a way that's really hard to understand. But my good friend Pablo, he speaks, I don't know, something about the way he speaks I can almost understand, even if I don't know the word. I understand what he's saying. So music theory. Oh, I know music theory in French, but Brit English and American English. There you go. Okie lingo, yeah. Okie lingo's they've got the Okies got their own language, that's for sure. Jim's learning squirrel. And I barely know American English, Diane. Yeah, I tell people I don't speak any language. Language of love. That's my language. All right, let's see. What else have we got going on here? All right, so I'm going to review these two patterns. Here, I'll hold them up again so you can do a screenshot, but I will upload a PDF. Wait a minute. Where did it go? Oh, I was going to talk about ties. Let's talk about ties. There's the first one. Yeah, so that, if you look at it, is the inverse. Hold on. I got to find the stack of the other ones. Okay. This one we learned before, which was the P-I-M-A, and then we flipped it. So we still hit the P, but then we go A-M-I. And it sounds like it looks. And so that's that one. Okay. And then Bruce said something. Oh, thanks, Bob. Bob said something. Oh, is that what it is? Okay. That's crazy. That's just registering guitars is crazy. So that's, and this is the other new one. Sorry. This is the one I just was doing. Okay. So the first one again was thumb, ring, middle, index. G7 chord. Okay. And then the new one is, it's a nice one because it's a longer pattern. It's 2 beats. Okay. So somebody was asking me about, can I explain ties? And ties are generally used to connect music across beats or across bars. So one example And this paper is kind of big for writing this, but if I had, I may just do it with a thicker pen so I can go faster. If I had a bunch of eighth notes in a bar, so there would be in a 4/4 bar, you would have 8 eighth notes. And one way you could stem it would be this way. Okay, that would be 8 C notes. Okay, and so this would sound like, play a C, down, 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But what if you wanted to make a quarter note here and here? So you would have quarter notes in the middle. Now this is probably the best way to write it because you can still see the beats go by. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4. But the way you would play this is you don't play this note because it's tied to from this note. So you add this note's value to this note. So it'd be da, instead of da 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 da, it's da 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 da, like the bass line from sunshine, boom, 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 boom. That's that rhythm. Now you could also write it out this way. This would be totally legit. And you might write this out in this way, but to me, that's not as easy to read. See, there's an eighth note because it's got the little flag on it, one flag. There's a quarter note, there's an eighth note, another eighth note, quarter note, eighth note. See, it's the same here. Eighth note, quarter note value, because 2 eighth notes equals 1 quarter note, eighth note. See that? Eighth note, quarter note, eighth note. Does that make sense? Yeah, see, you could use a quarter note instead, but visually, this is more difficult than this is. Does that make sense, DK? That's one use of a tie, to make music look easier to fast read. All right. Thank you, which is block. Oh, yeah. Boom. I'll let you take care of that. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. So that's one use. Does that make sense? Exactly. The written form is much more elegant, makes and visual. Like I said, you can really see the quarter note go by here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your first beat, second beat, third. And that's another reason why you wouldn't necessarily join these stems together, because you really wouldn't want to have a tie when you have the stems together. It just doesn't, for some reason, I just never see that. And so this is pretty rare to see. I would see this in maybe a choir thing. Yeah, somebody just went, I don't know. It almost looked like a bot, but anyway. Okay, so that is that. And then there's another use for it that comes in real handy when you have a note that you want to go over the bar line. So let's say we had a quarter note, a half note, but we wanted that half note to ring into the next bar, 1 quarter note. And then all right. So this would be dun 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 for dun 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 dun. See, so what we have here is we have 2 quarter notes, and then we want a dotted eighth note, or I'm sorry, dotted half note, or a half note, 3 quarter notes of value. So a half note is worth 2 quarter notes, and then we want it to continue to ring out into this bar. So that's how, that's when you would use a tie. Again, makes it really nice, because otherwise you would have to, if you wanted this to be like a dotted half note, you'd have to make this a 5/4 bar and then this a 3/4 bar, and that would just be impossible to read. Again, I think so much of the standard notation rules is all about speed in reading. I mean, I am blown away when an orchestra can get put in front of them some of the most crazy, like, I mean, oh my gosh, look at some of the Harry Potter stuff that John Williams wrote. I mean, and they just sit there and they sight read that, but it's written out really well. It's exactly how it should be written out, and it's, and to be honest, pretty much it's really difficult to surprise a string player in a major orchestra. They've seen everything. So very rarely do they get something thrown in front of them that they can't see. So let's see. Okay. Oh, you like the version on the right better? Yeah, I mean, technically there's less notes to look at, but I would have a hard time knowing where one or two, where's beat 2 there. There is no beat 2 and there's no beat 4. See here, I can see where beat 4 begins, or 2 begins, and I can see where beat 4 begins. So it is a preference, but if you were going to have music put in front of you 9 times out of 10, it's going to be written this way, maybe. And like I said, for hymnals, they write it this way. They don't do this in hymnals. They write it this way. So if you're used to reading hymnals, yeah, that's what you're going to see. So, but that's more of a rarity with each passing week. Let's see what else. Oh, that's interesting, Rick. I didn't realize they've been planting their woods. And of course, for guitars, they like to have the woods dry for 20 years or so, because it will, if you can't make a guitar out of green wood. If you make a guitar out of green wood, it's going to change shape. It'll fall apart as it dries out. So that's why they dry out wood as much as they do. Ebony's fine. I don't think ebony's protected wood. It's Brazilian rosewood's the main one I know about, but somebody mentioned a couple others I'm not familiar with. Oh, I see. So Bridget, you actually are working with the choir. You're working in a choir, so that's why. Yeah, in a hymn, you would always see it that way. Even I think sometimes anything vocal, a lot of times is going to be written that way, and I'm not exactly sure why, but they do. Maybe because it's easier to see spots where you can take a breath. But I mean, that's true for flute players and horn players, and they would prefer it written this way. So, let's see. Yeah, Martin has a store. Oh, I didn't realize ebony is one of those protected woods. Interesting. Yeah, ebony, rosewood is a more common fingerboard, I guess, right? Now they like Fenders and everything. Right. Let's see. Oh, Bob, yours is a 90. Oh, can I play an F sharp 7 sharp 9? Yes, Reverend Hogwash. We could play it I can show it to you several ways. F sharp 7 sharp 9. Okay, so it's not an F chord with a sharp 7. It's an F sharp chord with a 7. So F sharp 7 would be this. Okay, 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, 2. Oops, I gotta make sure I'm typing here. 2, 4, 2, 3. What am I doing? Is that right? 2, 2. Yeah. So this is F sharp 7. A little like that. Okay. But sharp 9 would be here. You could play it by maybe laying your finger across the top 2 strings. That's a very difficult version to play. But that's Jimi Hendrix played that in it's not Purple Haze, it's Foxy Lady, I think. So this would be that voicing, be 2, 4, X, really. You're not really playing that string, and then 2, 5, 5. And this would be F sharp 7, and this has all the notes in it. It has F sharp, which is the root. It has A sharp, which is the 3rd. It has C sharp, which is the 5th. It has E, which is the 7th, and it has an A, or really a G double sharp, which would be the sharp 9. And the way that is played is sharp 9. Okay. Now an easier way to play it would be to take the Purple Haze chord and move it up 2 frets. Okay. But you can't hit the bottom string or the top string. Well, you could hit the top string, but it would be redundant. You already got an E in there. So that would be 9. So it would be X, 9, 8, 9, and then 10. So I'm gonna have to put a space. I'm gonna put space in between those, unfortunately. Sorry, it's not as pretty as the other nomenclature here. And an X. And then this would be F sharp 7. And I'm gonna put the sharp 9. Okay. And that's, both of these are movable. So if this is F sharp 7, sharp 9, you're talking about on the left hand, right? Okay, well, everybody, we know, DK, you may not have been around when we did this exercise, but here's a great exercise. And I do have a YouTube video for it, so I can post that. Okay, Verdi, do I need to, okay, copy. I'm going to do the invite for the, yeah, I don't know what Laurel fingerboards sound like. Oh, sorry, I'm hitting my mic here, sorry. There's our Discord invite if you want to join it afterwards. So DK, the exercise or the lesson we were doing, and it's right here. This one, add, copy. I made a millionth of a penny. Paste. Okay. So here's my, let me make sure I got the right one. Two left-handed exercises. So DK, try this. Everybody get your guitars out. We can warm up. We can all do this together. You know it. And the pattern is 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. Okay. And so what it is 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. Kind of like that, the finger picking pattern we just did, that every other note was the open G string. This one, every other note is your pinky. So what it does is it forces you to keep your pinky out, and it really does make it stronger. So you go 1, 4, and then on the right hand, you can do whatever you want. You can use a pick. You could do pick all downstrokes. You could do guitar hammer. You could do ebow on a nylon guitar. Not going to work. You could do index middle. You could do index ring. You could do middle index. So you can actually turn the right hand into an exercise too if you've got this down. But if you really don't have this down, you can just go one finger or whatever. Don't worry about the right hand. So it's 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. And then I would just keep going up the fret. Awesome. Baco Cat, I'm glad. Thank you for subscribing. It means a lot. The channel's really growing. And then just keep going up. And keep going all the way until you get to, like, if you're playing classical guitar too, your finger hits the body of the guitar, which would be the 9th fret. 9, 12, 11, 12, 10, 12, 9, 12. And then you can do the same thing on the next string. Yeah, it's 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. See if you can see it better this way. 1, 4, 3, 4, 2. Now the goal, I'm lifting my fingers away so you can see what I'm doing, but really the goal is to kind of hover over the fretboard as much as possible so that you're ready to go. Oops, I did it wrong. There we go. And that'll really work out your pinky. Your pinky will definitely get a workout. And one of the things that will happen is that not only will it get stronger, it'll also be more available. It'll be more available. And I would go all the way down to the bottom string and go all the way up. So you go all the way up, first fret in the case of a classical guitar, first fret to the 9th fret. If you really wanted to get, a workout, you could probably keep going. And the proper technique for playing up high on the classical guitar is put your thumb like this and your first finger like this. That's kind of hard. Anyway, you don't really need to go all the way up there. Just go as high as you can go on your guitar. Imagine singing along with the exercise and making a song. That would be crazy, right? I don't know. I'm not hearing any real harmonic. You know. It almost sounds like a flight of bumblebees, though, right? Okay. Kathy, thank you so much. Thank you, Kathy, for doing your job, for being the boss. And I think we're pretty much done today. I think we got a lot done. I will try to scan these today or tomorrow so that I can upload them to the Discord. You'll find on the Discord, you'll find PDFs of these. All of these are up there now, except for the ones we did today. So all of these fingerpicking patterns are up there. And we may put some other stuff up there too. It's just kind of nice because we can have files. You can post pictures if you want. We can't do that kind of stuff here on the live chat. Anyway, I will talk to you all later and see you tomorrow, Lord willing. Today is Tuesday. I think I've got something going on tomorrow, but I think I can still. I don't think yet. You know, we're all still quarantined. I'm going to touch my face so we can take a sip. I have one more sip left. I'm so sad. Let's see. No worries, Hook. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, DK. Max. Yeah, bye, Pepper. See you later. Bye, Kathy. Oh, Diane, we didn't get a story in today, did we? Nothing came. It has to be. I don't want to force it. I have to go. Oh, remind me to tell this story later. It has to be one of those. So, and then, yeah, so we'll talk tomorrow. We're going to continue with more finger picking patterns. We'll probably learn a couple more. And then, I will probably soon, maybe before the end of the week, we'll start to integrate, now that we're getting some finger independence, we'll start to bring in the Travis pattern and see if we can start to get that down. Okay. 2 stories tomorrow. Yeah, Jim. Okay. Goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow.